In Sweden, there's a deeply ingrained cultural concept called the law of Jante. It essentially means, do not think you are special, and do not think you are better than us. Zlatan Ibrahimović was born in the rough, financially strapped neighborhoods of Malmö, and he rejected that polite, team-first mentality from day one. As a kid, youth coaches routinely scolded him. He was flashy, he held onto the ball too long, and he preferred attempting ridiculous backheels over making the simple, obedient pass. Instead of chasing the approval of the coaches on the sidelines, Zlatan turned inward. He stopped asking if he was good enough and simply decided he was already the best player on the pitch. When parents complained and coaches benched him, he didn't quit. He took every insult and deliberately weaponized it, using that disrespect as raw fuel to build his physical strength and refine his touch. The survival instincts he learned stealing bicycles on the streets of Malmö forged his permanent identity on the field. He never relied on an ounce of external belief to succeed. That intense, street-forged attitude traveled with him when he made his first professional leap from Malmö to the famous academy at Ajax. Scouts and opposing defenders were completely baffled by his mechanics. He was a massive 6'5" striker, but he possessed the agility and delicate touch of a playmaker. Against NAC Breda, he picked up the ball and began a dribbling sequence that defied logic. He dismantled the entire opposing defense single-handedly, freezing 4 separate players with a string of fakes before slotting the ball into the net. That goal transformed the conversation around him. It became much harder for critics to dismiss his arrogance when he was producing moments that seemed physically impossible for anyone else. He moved to Juventus, one of the most prestigious clubs in Italy. Most players arrive starstruck. Zlatan arrived with zero reverence, completely secure in his belief that he inherently belonged at the top. Then the Calciopoli scandal detonated, and Juventus was punished with relegation to the second division. While others stayed out of loyalty, Zlatan made a ruthless career calculation. He abandoned the club. He signed with their rivals, Inter Milan, and dominated Serie A year after year. Defenders dreaded him, and fans worshipped his sheer output. His tenure in Italy proved that pure, overwhelming performance can supersede the traditional expectations of club loyalty. That dominance earned him a move to Barcelona, the best team on the planet, playing alongside Lionel Messi. The problem was manager Pep Guardiola. He demanded strict obedience and a tactical system of robots. This clashed entirely with Zlatan's need for individual expression. The relationship collapsed completely when Guardiola shifted the tactical setup exclusively to benefit Messi. Zlatan was pushed into a secondary role, and he absolutely refused to be marginalized. Failing at Barcelona would crush most players. Zlatan packed his bags, completely unbothered. He used the rejection to validate his core belief. He was right to never compromise his identity for anyone. He immediately returned to dominant form across Europe, racking up massive goal tallies at AC Milan and Paris Saint-Germain. But his psychology peaked on the international stage, playing for Sweden against England. A long ball flew downfield, and the English goalkeeper rushed out of the box to head it away into the air. This diagram shows the sheer distance involved, 30 yards from the goal. While a standard play called for controlling the ball, Zlatan launched his 6'5" frame into the air for an overhead bicycle kick. He achieved the spectacular simply by attempting something every other professional deemed impossible. Late in his career, he signed with Manchester United. Critics lined up to say he was too old and too slow for the brutal pace of the Premier League. He flooded the net with goals, silencing the pundits instantly. Then, his knee gave out, a devastating injury that logically should have ended his time on the pitch. He refused to retire. He endured a grueling recovery, eventually returning to AC Milan, where he helped win a league title in his late 30s. He once said, "Lions don't compare themselves to humans." It's a legacy built on the idea that if you refuse to doubt yourself, the rest of the world eventually has to follow your lead.